Hey there, folks. I'm Todd, and I'm a pastor of a church here in San Diego, California, and I'm also the author of this little field guide that I call the Church Playbook. And now, first of all, I call it a field guide because it's not really big enough to be a book, and it's not like a binder that you would get at a conference, like if you went to the Purpose Driven Church Conference or Exponential. And Lord knows, I've got a ton of those binders too. You go to a conference, you get all excited, inspired, you come back, and then the day-to-day of ministry takes over, and those binders tend to go in a bookshelf, kind of like that. No, this is a field guide, and it's really designed for you to read a couple of paragraphs and then do the thing, whatever that thing is. Maybe you need to send an email to a leader, set a meeting, maybe you need to send a text or make a call. It's really designed, the Church Playbook is designed for you to read a little bit and then do it. And then read a little bit more and then do it. And the good news is it's not that big, so it really won't take you all that long to get through. The steps in there are super simple. The reason that I wrote it down was because I had been coaching a lot of pastors locally in my area, some of them in my denomination, some not, and I just ended up having sort of the same basic conversation over and over again. I said, I'm just gonna write this down. There's a whole new set of skills that us as pastors need to have in the 21st century that, if we're honest, we just didn't learn in school. Whether it was high school, Bible college, seminary, whatever, and to be an effective minister of the gospel in the 21st century, there's just a whole new set of rules and on how we exegete the culture and engage that culture. And so I just wrote some stuff down that our church had been learning, and there were actually 6 steps. The reason it happened was because our church just turned 7 a few weeks ago, and I started our church, and so I'm the founding pastor, and we just adopted another church in our denomination. There's a bunch of fun lessons that we're learning from that too. But in our first year, we went from 3 families to 100, 125, 150, and knocked on the door of 200 a few times that year. And it just happened really fast. Well, after that first year, and I know all of y'all will be able to relate to this, we had some key families move out of the area. My wife and I, our best friends, they actually lived across the street from us. We experienced some betrayal that wounded us deeply, and we went from, again, knocking on the door of 200 to 100, 125 in the matter of really just a few weeks, from May to the end of August. And so when the dust settled, we were pretty burned out. And fortunately, football season was coming. I've been coaching Pop Warner ball for a dozen years, and so the season was coming, and that was a welcome distraction for me. And so I just decided I was going to do the absolute essentials, sort of the bare minimum to get by, preach on Sunday, things like that. And because coaching football is kind of I'm a head coach, it's like another full-time job. Especially in Pop Warner, because it's not just the players, but you've got your coaches, and you've got the parents, and you've got the board, the league board. So anyway, that football season comes and goes, and a couple things happened. First of all, my team made the playoffs, which was awesome. And the second thing that happened was our church started to grow again. But I didn't know why at first. And we started breaking records for us, for a new church. started breaking records. And, we had a special Sunday where we honored the football league, because a lot of the kids' parents had started coming to our church, and broke an attendance record that day. Well, a couple of months later, I realized something. I realized I started leading my church like I had been coaching my football team. And in coaching football, I had identified that there were 6 things that I needed to do as a coach to lead my team to the championship game. And I had sort of inadvertently started leading my church like I was coaching the team. And the 6 things that I was doing to lead a winning team, I'd started doing to lead a winning church. And now, I mean, again, that was, 6 years ago. We're now, 3 times the size that, we were, 4 times the size that we were back then. And so it works. And so again, I just started coaching these pastors in my tribe and locally in the area, and they started having some similar results that our church did. And so I decided, in fact, when I wrote the Church Playbook, initially it was a Kickstarter project that I wanted to donate 50 copies to pastors all over the country, because here's what I know. When you pastor a small church, and by the way, like, I grew up in small churches. I love small churches. My grandparents were elders at a small Southern Baptist church in Arizona. I remember we had a friend day. We had this new pastor, and he had this newfangled idea of having a friend day, and we were going to get 100 people in church on friend day. And and I was in 7th grade back then. I just remember it so clearly. And we didn't get 100 people on friend day. We got 80. And I remember going home that day feeling bad that we doubled the size of our church on one Sunday. So, like, I know small church. I love small church. And I love pastors. And so I just wanted to do this Kickstarter project to get the Church Playbook out into the hands of pastors of small churches. And the reason for that was, when you pastor a small church, you don't have $1,000 for a coaching program. You don't. And I have, in the last 7 years, I've spent more money on coaching programs and being personally coached and getting educated on doing church in the 21st century than I did going to school. And so the crazy thing is when we were in the middle of this, like, 2nd year lull, our sophomore experience wasn't nearly as exciting as our freshman one was. And I spent $1,000 because one guy told me, well, the key to church growth is good preaching. And I already thought I was pretty okay, but I can always learn more, right? So I spent $1,000 to become a better preacher, and it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. And then I spent another $1,000 on how to have, put together better worship services. And again, ours were already pretty good, but we can get better. And so we spent $1,000 on that, and that didn't get us the results that I was looking for. And I spent another $1,000 on how to get more volunteers doing ministry, and which is super important. I mean, we are here to equip the saints to do the work of the ministry. And if I can get more buy-in from the volunteers, then, growth group attendance will go up, and giving will go up, and blah, 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 blah. That's what the program said. And it helped, but it didn't give me the results that I was looking for. So I spent a grip of cash. And I just know that when you pastor a smaller church, you don't have that kind of cash. And so that's why I started this Kickstarter project. Now, that was a couple years ago, and by the grace of God, we were actually able to give away 3 times as many copies as I'd originally planned on. I gave out 150 copies to pastors all over the country. And now this is kind of my side hustle. So many people have said, hey, can you help me? Can you coach me? And I do what I can. But this is now kind of my side hustle. And so when you see the Church Playbook, I just want you to know why I wrote it. I wrote it because, dude, or guys, gals, whatever, I get it. I get how hard your job is. And a lot of you are bivocational. A lot of you have spouses that work outside the home, and you're still trying to be a good husband, a good father, wife, mom, whatever, and still trying to lead your church and change a community for Jesus. I get it. And so if by you taking this little field guide and just going paragraph by paragraph and putting it down and picking up the phone and making a call or pulling out your laptop and sending an email and scheduling this meeting or doing that, listen, it'll help you. It'll help you. I got pastors every day that are reaching out and picking up the Church Playbook because it's helping them, because they know it's going to help them. So anyway, I just wanted you to know why I wrote the Church Playbook. A year ago or so, I did a survey with hundreds of pastors and pastors of churches that are less than 200. And I said, hey, what questions do you have that maybe I can help with? And so I got a bunch of questions, and here on the YouTube channel or Facebook Live, I'm going to answer those questions one at a time. And so be on the lookout for that. Which, by the way, what questions do you have? In fact, right in the comments section, would you put down the question that you have if you lead a church of under 200 people? I'd love to know. I'd love to meet you. But put in your question. If you could ask any question that maybe I can help you with, put it in the comments section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you click on that little bell so that you can be notified whenever the next video comes out for that. But anyway, listen, love you guys a ton. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. You matter. We need you. So hang in there. Don't give up. And I'm just glad we get to be on the same team. God bless you guys. We'll see you soon.